Welcome back, everyone, to Son Alexander's tutorial of the Old Republic Sith Acolyte masked helm. Wanted to start off with part 11 with a question I received on my Facebook page, which was the positioning of the eye holes and a little bit more description on that. What I was trying to say originally was when you measure out the way the mask portion attaches to the helmet, you want to make sure it goes down lower. The purpose for this is while trying on the helmet, you can see that it doesn't sit right. The main reason for this is that you make the helmet large to make sure that it will fit your head, and if this was going to be like a commission thing, you don't have any way of measuring the other person's head, so you by default make them larger. This is the mask that I purchased from a cosplay website some time ago, 2 years ago, and it's in the same fashion. Full helmet and face mask. That's where I got the idea to do this. Again, the mask came large. Same with the helmet. When I first got it, it wobbled around on my head and it didn't sit right, and it was just the fiber reinforced plastic. There was nothing on the inside. The reason I said to make sure that the eyes are down lower is because of this, the inside here. I fixed the problem by adding cotton batting on the underneath, and then this black fabric, which is kind of like a foam fabric. It's actually the fabric for your what you see on your car when you look up when you're sitting in your when you're sitting in the seat. It's the roofing material or the ceiling material. You can find it at any fabric store, and they sell by the yard. We just had some lying around, and all I did was hot glue it in. This one also came with straps, but like I stated in another tutorial, I don't care for the straps. And after I added all the cotton batting, it sits right. See? It doesn't move around. It's secure to my head. It's very comfortable because of the cotton on it and the foam matting, and it makes the eyes perfectly level. And the cool thing with that is by making the helm larger, you can add as much or as little cotton as you need, or this material, this finishing material, to the inside of the helmet to adjust it to any head, to anybody's eye level, anything like that. So that's the main reason I was saying earlier, to make sure when you do this that you put down the eye level lower than your actual vision, because it's for a finalized step. And since I haven't gotten to that point yet and I received this question, I wanted to make sure that people watching all my videos to this point understood that could understand that there really was a purpose to it. And you'll see it later once I get to that point. I plan on doing that in a much later video. Just haven't been there yet. So same deal with this. This was the mold that I used, but I just used the top of it, and it wobbles around. It doesn't sit right, and it was made large intentionally. And I used the larger helmet for that reason. I wanted the option to be able to put that stuff on there. So I hope that answers the question to the person that asked me on my Facebook page. If you have any other questions, feel free to message me. Link to my Facebook page is in the comments. And I do hope that answers your question in better detail. So onward to part 11, to the actual purpose of what I want to show you guys today. And there are a couple things that I want to mention for part 10 for the sanding portion. Is I went back after doing the finger thing over the whole thing. I sanded it again, and then as a secondary coat, I went over with it with this, which was the thing I did the first time, and I found that this works really well too. So tips for it when you're doing that is just get a small dab of it like we did with the fingers, and then what you want to do is press really firmly and scrape it completely along the edge, make it as smooth as possible, but I actually found that this works really well opposed to just dabbing it with the fingers, because you can smooth the whole area and make it flush, and that'll take care of any imperfections that you have. I did it on the cheek portions, and it has some rough sanding or very, very light areas that I need to patch. It's kind of hard to do it up on the dome portion, which is where I was having the most trouble with it, which is where the finger portions was coming into play most of the time, but it helped a lot on the edges, as you can see. Like I said, it's just long, broad strokes with a lot of pressure and scraping it as thin as possible, and that fills in the holes really well and gives it a nice smooth surface. So this is, after doing that, this has been 3 touch-up attempts. Not attempts, but 3 touch-up times, and I'll probably do it again. I want this really smooth by the time we're done. But once you get it to this point where you're doing the touch-ups and fine details, since we don't have a whole lot of raised edges, this is where the 320 sandpaper comes into play. And I'll be doing the 320 sandpaper from this point on, except for maybe on some of the chunkier stuff. I'll only take out the chunky stuff with 80 grit and then immediately switch to 320. We're to the point now where we want to make sure that this is starting to smooth out. And again, you'll probably still have to do some fine details, but I was also thinking about it, and if you wanted kind of like a battle damaged helmet, the way the body filler goes on creates some really neat looking natural pores and pits, specifically like not the ones that have the really rough edges, but the ones that are kind of smooth. You'll know them when you see them, but there's some, like this one right here. It's kind of got no rough edges, and it's just kind of indented. That would be a really good one you could leave, and if you wanted that look on your mask, you could do that. One other thing I did want to make sure I tell you folks that are interested in this, that I did not state in my last one, and I thought I did in part 10, which is while you're sanding, and this is starting off right after you put the body filler on or your resin, sand with your edges. Make sure you follow your lines. Don't just grab your sandpaper and start going like right on the edge of the sand here. You always want to sand on the smooth surfaces and then take your sandpaper and go to the next smooth surface. Always avoid the line. I mean, you're going to have to sand the line a little bit, but don't just rub it. You want to make them sharp lines. So always sand on the faces of the surface faces. Don't sand down these lines. You want the nice sharp edges. Other than that, I can't really think of anything else for this tutorial. I did finally get some more liquid hardener, so I'll be touching this up tonight, and hopefully by the next time, by part 12, we'll be ready to do detailing, and I'm excited about that. So that's about it. This has been Son Alexander for part 11, and stay tuned for part 12. Thanks for watching, guys.